Hey everyone, my name is Patrick from Travels with Delaney, and today what I'm going to do is just a really raw video to share something that we're going through with our RV that I'm hoping will help maybe somebody else out. And there's going to be nothing fancy about this because a lot of what I'm going to do is have to tell you about what we did yesterday. So a couple days ago, we lost power in the RV, and I went out, checked the inverter, and it was showing low battery, except our batteries were fully charged. So I shut the inverter off, which should have allowed the power to flow on through, and it didn't. So yesterday, Myron was out. He spent about 5 hours diagnosing the inverter, which is a Victron, that 3000 multiplus, and started a warranty claim on the Victron, went ahead and removed it, and then tied our power back together just so we could have power, and we had no power. And he spent hours going through every wire that he possibly could, checking. And the short of it is, last night I was out there with him after I got off work, and I said to Myron, could this have anything to do with it? And he's like, it could, but we need another cable to test. So I went over, borrowed our neighbors, Angie and Kevin's, off of their trailer, and sure enough, it fired us right up. Now, I've started cutting this, and that's when I decided I better pull out the camera. I'm going to try to cut off. This is one of those molded ones, and it looks like stuff is pulled out. I want to see inside exactly what's happened, because the watchdog was giving us a missing neutral. So I'm guessing a wire has pulled out in there, and that's what caused it. And then what I just did, because the whole cable is really good shape other than that, I just went and bought one of these replacements, and I'm going to wire it up and then go try it on the trailer. I'm actually here at the house right now because I had more tools to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting this off, and then I'll cut back in and show you what I find. All right, so I've cut this out, and you can see here's what's under here. Interestingly enough, and I never noticed there were lights on this thing. This is what's under there. So I'm going to get this whole plastic sheathing off, and then we're going to unscrew this and see what the wire situation is. All right, here we go. Well, there's our culprit. We got two wires completely unattached. So that is what caused it. So if you're having electrical issues and you see that this plastic has dropped below, you probably need to replace it. And again, I'm just going to use, and if you're wondering, I spent $30 for this at Bish's RV up in Coldwater, Michigan. And by the way, I had ordered one last night on Amazon. That's not coming till tomorrow, and I paid $35 on Amazon. So by going to Bish's, I actually got one cheaper, and I'm just going to rewire this. And the great thing is, because I was able to cut this off and get in here, I don't even have to cut. I'm not going to lose any length on our cable, which is awesome. Well, I correct that. I am probably going to need to cut back just a little bit, because look, these are on so good. And this one even has a solder. This one didn't, but it's on good. These two, I don't know. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut these off right here, trim them back. I'll have to trim back a little bit, not much, and then we'll start installing this. So I'm just following the instructions that came with this, and it told me exactly what size to go ahead and make the cuts for the wires. And you can see I've done that. So we got the red and the black are the same length. The green is the tallest and the white is the shortest. And now I think what I have to do is just go ahead and grab this. I'm going to have to take the screws out, and then it's going to tell me exactly where each wire goes. So I'm going to work on that, and then I'll cut back in. So I went ahead and I just took out, there's 4 screws holding this plate in, and then 2 holding this in. And now I think we're ready to connect. And it looks like the green wire is going right up here to the green. It looks like black is coming right here on the right-hand side, white in the center, and red on the left-hand side. So, all right, I'm gonna double read the instructions, see if there's a certain way these mount or what, but I'll cut back in once I have them on. It took a little work, but I now have it. And when I say it took a little work, not a long time. I put this one in first, and then it actually, this whole thing pulled out, which made it a little bit easier. Then I opened all 3 wide enough, and I started with the center one, got it tight, and then I did the black one and the red one. Now, I will tell you, I trimmed a little bit more off down here because there just wasn't enough based upon their measurements to work with. So now what we have to do is go ahead and get the other half put on. And there I have all 4 screws in, so now the whole housing is put together. I should mention I really made sure those were good and tight on the inside because, again, we don't want that coming apart. Now, this piece goes on right here to clamp like that, but notice it has a pop-out. This is obviously not going to work, so what I have to do, and I'm trying to do this one-handed. I didn't bring a tripod with me over here. So you pull that out, and that way if you have a thicker cable like we do, then I just have to put those 2 screws in. Ta-da! Well, maybe I shouldn't do that quite yet. We don't know if it's going to work, but you can see how that came out. I think that looks good. It's in there good. I tightened all the screws. This one still has the handle, and we really didn't lose anything at all. Maybe 1/4 of an inch is all, because the cable on this end is still good. And again, a new one of these at the dealership was $250. So $30 to fix it, and I think it's going to work fine. So now what I have to do is run back over to the campground, and we will plug it in and see if this solves our problem. I'm back at the campground. I just plugged in this end, and we're going to come down here to the pedestal. I have the watchdog plugged in. Now, I know the pedestal is good, but just out of extreme caution. All right, stayed white. That means we're good there. I'm going to shut that off. And then I'm going to get this plugged in, but I can't do it one-handed. And there we are. We are plugged in, and I'm going to come up. Ooh, I don't like that. It needs to be plugged in a little bit more right there. And let's flip it, and then we'll see if it works. Fingers crossed that we have power. Okay, watchdog stayed white. Yesterday it was going red and giving us an I think it was an E3 code. So, and I think you can see I was charging up my Blue Eddy. That's what we've been using inside. This is a good sign. AC is on. The microwave is on, and we have power again. I know, again, this was not a fancy video, no fancy B-roll or anything like that. Hopefully it's just useful information. So if you ever have power issues, always check the pedestal, always check breakers, fuses, things like that. But one thing to maybe check is your cord that you plug into the pedestal that plugs into your RV, because this is the second time we've had this issue. The last time what was happening was on the end, we were seeing the plastic melt. That was on our Lance, and so I just went and replaced it. But in this case, we didn't get any melting. We just ended up having issues to where we didn't have any power. So I hope this is useful. I hope it helps you. Until next time, everybody, I appreciate you watching and coming along, and we'll see you on down the road. Bye.
Travels with the lady. We'll see you on down the road.